I had another question for you. Based on what you've seen, and we've seen how with all the waste and spending that really didn't go to anything regarding the infrastructure or the American people, and it seems like they raise enough money just through corporate tax and transportation tax and all this other stuff. Do you realistically think that people need to be taxed, or taxation a way to keep people on the hamster wheel? Because in my opinion, it seems like with all the excise tax, the gas tax, the trucking companies that are using, they're taxing the hell out of all those big businesses. Why
They're
should the
taxing the
guy
hell
who, like
out of
you
me,
said,
Big Kirk. They're taking
yeah, so
my
why
money.
should the guy, middle class guy, why should he be getting taxed like that? It makes no sense.
You know, here's what I'll say about that. If this is a nonprofit, and they said, like, for example, they're helping, kids out that had, physical defects or mental defects or whatnot. And we audited and we found out that all their money was going to a handful of people in Ukraine. They would get denied exemption. And they would they they'd probably get shut down.
Yeah, but the thing is, that was happening, and those places weren't shut down until just recently. So this has been going on for a long time. So my point being is, when we now that this is exposed, it's almost like you pulled the curtain back, and for all the people that had been paying into a system, you realize they really didn't need your money, because if they were able to waste all that money, imagine if the people were able to keep all that money, how much better your life would be, how much more money those people would have for their families. It makes no sense. Now
Yeah.
you're really telling on yourself, saying that people should be taxed, period, because you had all the money, you wasted it, and it still didn't do anything. You know what I mean? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a broken system, It benefits, the person it benefits the most is the rich person that may or may not want to do something that's, kind of
Let me
shame.
run an idea by you. Like you said, the rich person, right? So imagine these people who promote, or who really support the income tax system, right? These
Mhm.
companies, these people at the very top now, if those people, because they already know how to lower their tax liability, so it doesn't affect them. Oh, we're going to tax you. The more you tax them, it doesn't matter, because they're still not paying the taxes, because they know how to work the system. But imagine now, if the people that work for them weren't taxed as much, how much further those people could get ahead in life to now acquire more wealth. But it seems like to me, if you want to keep your wealth and keep everybody beneath you poor, you want them to be taxed as much as possible, because they'll never understand the tax system. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, corporations, like, for example, these large corporations, they're not even nonprofits. The corporation themselves, not just the individuals, they benefit a lot from these nonprofits. I'll give you an example, you know, and there's actually revenue ruling on this. So a corporation, okay, they can they can donate, they can donate lands, okay, to 501c3 as a public charity, you know, and if it's publicly supported, okay, they can put land there. What they can do is they say, "Oh, look, that's that's not just a lot right next to our building. No, 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 that's a public park. Okay, that's a public park. It's tax exempt. It's furthering charitable purposes. Okay." And then what we'll do is like, okay, yep, see, we got a public park that's furthering charitable purpose. Oh, yep, hey, we got a note from the city city hall that says, oh, hey, we're lessening the burdens of government. It's charitable. Hey, guess what? We want some money. Hey, government, we like some money. Hey, so and so that's looking to give out money. We want some money. It's tax deductible. And just like that,
Mm.
it just keeps piling up on itself. I mean, for example, just to make it very clear, individual, so like me, like for Big Hurt, let's say you yourself, Big Hurt, you wanted to be a nonprofit organization, you get instantly denied because an individual cannot be a nonprofit organization. However, you know, an organization, and you got to keep in mind these organizations, these are these aren't actual living things, okay? These are kind of, they're almost a great way to think of an organization or a corporation. It's an idea, okay? they, if you think about it, they get better tax treatment than you. Because like an individual like you and I, if we just want to be ourselves and be tax exempt, we get instantly denied. But a corporation, an idea, it is tax exempt. It's just another
So
great.
no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you just made a great point there. So you're actually telling the people who are human, flesh and blood, that you're better off or operating in a corporate capacity because the system favors corporations, legal fictions more than it does working regular people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does. Um, it really does, Big Kirk, and it's so backwards. It's
You know,
just,
so let me run this by you. So imagine if the average guy, like you said, he's making 150, 200,000 a year. He's paying into his IRA account. He has a 401k. He has, a house, maybe some investments, some other stuff going on. But if he was to operate in a corporate capacity and say his income, rather than getting paid as an individual, he created himself as a corporation with this as an entity. He would actually be better off tax wise because as that legal fiction, that entity, he can have more benefits within the system to lower his tax liability. Is that correct?
well, yeah, they're doing good for the community. Like, you know, if they're, you know, if they're gonna, further charitable or educational purposes, something like that. You know, I've seen it. A lot of people be so impressed. There's a lot of ways you can actually make money, not just donations. Okay, you can actually sell things and still be tax exempt under 501(c)(3). So, one way they can go
How's that?
around doing this. So,
How would you do that?
that's a bit complicated, but one of the ways you could do it is you could start, like, say, a religious organization. Okay, and you could talk about, God is great, and talk about how great God is and how God saved your life. So you know, you got to be careful because if there's some things you can do. It's a little bit complex, but you got to make sure it's not, but at least on paper, it's not similar to commercial way. There are
Mm-hmm.
ways organizations can literally go and sell like books about religion and say, oh, these are these are fees from the furtherance of exempt purposes. Not only are they not taxable, okay, our organization itself is tax exempt, which means they don't pay taxes and we're eligible to receive tax deductible contributions. Okay, but and there's
So
some things you got.
all the property you see that those big churches sit on and all that stuff, that's all tax exempt.
Yeah, it's tax exempt. I mean, there are things you can do to get your exemption denied, but I mean, if it's just like obvious, like if it's an obvious tax shelter. But there's some things you do, not even so much how you operate, just what you put in your bylaws. A lot of things, for example, the conflict of interest policy. You know, I see that, people use that a lot. Or a conflict of interest policy will look something like this, okay? And, you know, this is for organizations, that are trying to do business related for profits. They'll say, hey, we'll have a board meeting, okay? And so the board meeting, okay, the people that own the related for profit, okay, they won't sit down on the vote whether or not we do business related for profit, okay? And even though that person, he pays our salaries and whatnot, we promise we're going to be fair and honest about our vote. And so, yeah, we all voted to do, business that related for profit. And so there you go, just like that. You know, they're not a tax sham. They're just, you know, trying to further charitable and educational purposes, and that related for profit. Oh yeah, it's just something there to help them. It's not a way to, you know, for the related, parties to enrich themselves or create an environment. It's just a way to it's just a way to help the community do some very good. And a lot of people will laugh at this, but you know a lot of times the IRS, I can tell you firsthand, we don't like to deny things that are like slam dunk. So like a slam dunk. Let's say, a church is formed okay? And the pastor, okay, he takes in like 95% of the funds, okay? That's an Nerman, okay? That you can't have that. They'll get denied. Okay? But here's the thing. let's say like a pastor, okay, instead of just taking like 95% of the funds that the church gets, he just structures a salary, okay? He and the rest of the governing body, they form what's called an employment agreement or something to that effect. Some sort of written document that says, okay, hey, you know, it's a governing body, we interviewed you, whatnot, yada yada yada. And now, okay, that person, he'll get 80% of the salary. Or well, they won't say 80% of the salary, he'll get a salary of such and such amount a year. Okay. And they can figure like, okay, it'd be like 80 to 70%. Okay, and they'll say, hey, he's not enriching himself, okay? He is performing services, for the furtherance of the organization, okay? He's just an employee because he adds a lot of value, okay? You know, it'd be amazing how you can get around some things just by what you put on paper
Mm,
and how you
makes sense.
structure it.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with the viewers?
Um, just you know, uh, just yeah, I really hope the the government, especially the IRS as a whole, can turn around because I've seen the IRS firsthand that it's it's very corrupt. And I really hope things can turn around. And yeah, please, your viewers, if you're listening, please tell Elon Musk, tell Donald Trump, tell them to get in contact with me. Nothing else, we can help out the fire departments. I can help them out because there's just stuff on paper that they just don't want to enforce, and trying not to enforce that. If they just enforce, they'll help out the fire departments.
All right, well, Grant, I appreciate you coming on, man, and wish you the best, bro. And thank you for reaching out, man.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you letting me on this platform, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Thank you. Take care, man. God bless you.
You too.
Big Kirk 916, fresh out.